Hello friends, as part of building enterprise data warehouse using Hadoop ecosystem, so far I have covered Hive architecture and Hive DDL and also Scoop theory portion of it. And if you think in the context of data warehouse, we have created databases and also we have seen how to do the physical data modeling by creating the tables. And now we are in the extract and load process, and Scoop is one of the tool where you can actually do the extract and load. And we have already seen the demo, we have already seen the theory portion of Scoop. And for this video and next couple of videos we will be seeing hands-on demo on Scoop. Okay, so for the demo, first let me go to Scoop user guide. You can Google it, and the first link will take you to the Scoop user guide. And as you have already seen in my previous videos, Scoop is nothing but a export import utility, or utility which can actually copy data from traditional databases into Hadoop and vice versa. So if you see, there are hardly 10 to 12 commands, starting from import all tables, export, metastore, merge, codegen, etc. As part of the demo, I will cover at least 5-6 commands. First, we will start with the Scoop list databases, even though that is not in the first in the list. That is the most basic command you can actually execute. Okay. Again, as you have seen, the code for this demo will be committed in the GitHub. So the location is, let me just give me a minute. I will tell you the location. Okay, let me first commit it. I'm syncing it, and now if you launch GitHub and go to my repositories under my account D Gadiraju, there is a directory called code, and in that you can see Hadoop, and we are talking about EDW, and there is a directory called Scoop, and you can actually refer to this for the Scoop demo. So as part of the as part of this demo, first we will be running the most basic command, which is list databases. Okay, and list databases will actually list all the databases that is available at this JDBC URL. And even though this is very basic command, you need to keep in mind about the underlying databases which we are trying to connect. For example, if you talk about MySQL, and if you log in as root, and in Cloudera VM, all the passwords are Cloudera, so you can use Cloudera as the password, and you can type show databases. And actually, within the one installation of MySQL, you can create multiple databases. And that is the case with MySQL, Postgres. But when it comes to Oracle, for one installation of Oracle, you can only create one database. You cannot have multiple databases like this. Whereas in MySQL or Postgres, you can create as many databases you want within the same installation. So when you run this command, When you run this command to list the databases, if it is MySQL or Postgres, it will actually return these databases. Now let us run the command. I am exiting from Hive and I am running on a MySQL database. If you run it in Oracle, what it will do is it will return all the schemas, not the databases. Schemas are nothing but users in Oracle. So when you actually run this command against Oracle with the right connect URL and username and password, it will list all the schemas that are there in one Oracle database. So depending upon the underlying database, the semantics of the command change. For MySQL or Postgres, when you list databases, it will actually give you the databases for which you have the access. In this case, RetailDB have access only to information schema and RetailDB. That's why it is only showing 2. So to validate it, you can actually log in as RetailDBA. That is the one which we are actually using. Password is Cloudera. And now if you do show databases, it will show you the 2 databases which it has access to. Similarly, when you run this list databases command, it will get the databases available for that user which we are trying to connect, which is retail_dba in this case. So this is the database which you need or need not pass when you actually use list databases, and this is the username which you are trying to connect. So for list databases, the database name is optional. Let me show you. I am deleting the database name and still it will return the 2 databases. Okay, so I need to fix this in the code. Let me do that. There is no need to put the database name here. Okay, now we will go to the second command. The second command is to list the tables. So we have seen list databases, now we are talking about list tables. Again, the connect the connect clause will have the JDBC URL, and the slash at the end is for multi-line commands. So if you actually see, this command is a single line command, and if you feel that it is cluttered and if you want to type this command in multiple lines, you cannot just do scoop list databases and hit enter. It will take it as a command and it will get the results. It will try to get the results, but as it is expecting certain parameters, it is failed. So if you have to type the command in multiple lines, it is a Linux concept or Unix concept where you have to end with the slash and hit enter. Then it will continue with the command, and then you can actually give the connect URL, copy, paste, and then you can give the username and password. I'm just typing a space in the beginning of the line just to make it a little bit readable. It is not required. Okay, so now we are actually looking at list tables. So in the connect URL, when you try to run list tables command, you have to specify the database name. Then what will happen is, using this username and password, it will try to connect to this database and it will try to get the list of tables that are owned by the that are available in that database for this user. So now I can copy it and I can paste it here. Okay, it seems there is a special character in there. Let me fix this here. Yeah, there is no line. That is the reason why. So let me copy this. I will commit it later. After fixing all the possible issues, I'm pasting it, and you can see the tables. So there are 6 tables, and you can also look at here. You can switch to retail DB and show tables, and it will list the tables in there. So the scoop list tables will just connect to this database using this username and password, and whatever tables it have access to, it will list those tables. Okay, and then so we have covered 2 commands. I will not be able to cover all the commands. You have to explore bunch of these things, but I will be covering the important commands. The third one will be scoop eval. So scoop eval, if you look at the details about scoop eval, what it will do is you can run any type of queries in the database. You can actually run select queries, insert queries, or you can even invoke a stored procedure depending upon the database you are trying to connect, and you can get the results from the database by submitting a query using eval command. And in the context of enterprise data warehouse, this command is very important. After import and export, the third important command is eval. And the reason is, if you think about it, if you want to capture delta from source database into Hadoop, or even from Hadoop to downstream applications, it is even with the conventional ETL tools, it is a best practice to maintain some status tables in some database. So for example, if you are using Informatica also for the ETL, to get the delta, you should be able to determine till what date you have already migrated the data, and that information has to be stored in some tables. And as part of the workflows of Informatica or any other ETL tool, before the workflow is executed, it will connect to the source, it will connect to the status table, get the date till which the processing is already done, and then you will use parameters or variables, and try to invoke the invoke the workflow for the uh, delta. So the status tables have plays a significant role uh, in the overall ETL process in the scope of enterprise data warehouse. So here, if you try to store the status tables in Hive, querying them will take enormous amount of time, like 30 seconds or 1 minute, just to get the status, and it can be counterproductive. So it is a best practice to have the ETL status tables in a traditional RDBMS like MySQL or Postgres or Oracle, and then you can run the scoop eval command to get the value, and then you can build the new workflows or new commands based upon the values you got from the database. So that is the significance of eval. I will demonstrate it with a simple example, and probably in the latter part of the demo videos, I will cover a conventional use case uh, using eval command. Here also I forgot to add slash, so let me add this for eval. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect to the same database using user retail DBA and password Cloudera, and I'm trying to get the count of order items. And you can run this. And it gave you the count. And if you let me see if any table have orders, sorry, date. So order date is date. So the way you can use in the context of ETL is by after running the import, you can get the maximum date till which data is copied, and that information can be stored in a status table. And again, when the workflow runs next day, you can actually look into the status table till what time copy is done, and using scoop eval command, and then you can build the next scoop command using the required criteria, and you can copy the delta. Okay, I will try to show you probably in the next 1 or 2 videos, but for now just understand the that there is a feature where you can actually submit a query using minus minus query attribute using a scoop eval to get results out of it. And you can not only run the select queries, you can insert data, you can update data, you can delete, you can even invoke the stored procedures. So it has it is very very important to keep this command in mind, because in the context of enterprise data warehouse, scoop eval is very very important command. So that being said, now let us go to the next command. Again, I'm going to the this one. So before running the import command, let's see what is import all tables. So as import all tables, typically we will use for baseline. For daily data, if you try to use import all tables, it will be counterproductive. But for baseline, you can get the downtime on the source system, and you can actually run import all tables and get all the data into Hadoop, and then you can capture delta at desired intervals. Okay, so import all tables. Minus m is nothing but minus minus num mapper. So first let us see the user guide about scoop import command. Let us understand how it is framed, and then we'll come back to the demo. So you can click on this to go to scoop import, and if you look at the syntax, there are two types of arguments. One is common arguments, and second one is control arguments. Common arguments are like JDBC connection details, like connect to the JDBC, and if you want to use the custom manager and driver classes to connect to the database, you can actually use them as well. And Hadoop home to tell to where data should be written, and minus capital P, if you use, it will ask you to it will prompt you for the password. So whenever you run the command, you have to enter the password. Minus minus password will not actually prompt you, but you have to pass the password, and username is username. Verbose is what all information it should be it should print while the command is running. And instead of using username or password or username and minus p, you can actually create a parameter file which will have the username, password, and I think even the JDBC connection string, and you can actually run the command. The database connectivity parameters will be in a file, and that will be passed using connection param file. So these are all these are all common arguments, and control arguments are the ones which will actually tell you how to run the import. So there are plenty of them. I will cover important ones. Minus m or minus minus num mappers. So this one you can actually tell how many threads should you use to copy each and every table. Okay, and minus minus query, you can actually give a query, and the results of that query will be imported. And split by, so if the table does not have primary key, then you can give split by clause, and you can pass an indexed column, and the import algorithm will use that column to divide data into mutually exclusive data sets as explained in the previous video, to copy the data into the target. And minus minus table is the table from which you want to copy the data. But going back to the actual command which we are trying to run, we are using minus m to determine how many number of mappers should we use. Here we are using 12 mappers, and minus minus connect username and password you have already seen. If you want to compress the data while it is copying, you can say minus minus compress, and it will enable it. And minus minus compression codec will tell you what algorithm you should use to actually copy the data. In this case, let us remove the compression. Okay, and as Evro data file, so this is a different data file which it will Evro is a format, is a file format which can be understood by heterogeneous programming languages. So if you want to pass data from Java to .NET or any other programming language, you cannot just pass it as Java object. You have to use some industry standard file formats. One of them is XML, and the other one is Evro. Evro follows JSON format, so you can actually use Evro format as well. And then this warehouse directory will tell you to which directory data needs to be copied. Okay, so before actually I am trying to stage the data from the source database into retail stage. The reason is, if you remember the data modeling which we have done, the table structures between ODS and the source system need not match. So for example, if you go back to the repository and go back to Hive demo, and if you refresh this one, it will give you the latest one. Okay, and these are the tables which we have executed as part of data modeling demo or Hive DDL demo. And if you think about it, orders is partitioned by order month, so we are having additional column on top of order ID, date, customer ID, status. We are also having month as part of the table. So orders table structure need not be the same with the MySQL orders. So here MySQL orders have only 4 columns, whereas in our case in Hive ODS database, we have 5 columns. Similarly, order items have order date as additional column, and also it is partitioned by order month. So what I'm trying to say is, the table structures in ODS will not exactly match the source system. It will be they will be similar, but will not exactly match. So in most of the cases, you have to do transformation, a little bit of transformation while loading data into ODS. Okay, so for that reason, we will use Scoop to export data into a stage database. So for that, we need to create a stage database in Hive. So let me create a stage database. So I am logging into Hive. Come on. And then I'm pasting the not use. So there is a create command also in that on the top. Let me copy it from here. So you can go up and you can actually use this command to create the database. Okay, so I'm creating the database, and now I will use, so when I create this database, what happens in HDFS, it will create a directory under user Hive warehouse with retail underscore stage with DB extension. So this is the database or directory which we will want to copy data as part of the scoop import for all the tables. Okay, so now we can run this. So the JDBC connection URL, username and password you already understand, and I don't want to compress, so I will use this instead of the command in the in the committed version of GitHub. I will commit this so that you will not have that when you actually practice these commands yourself. And in the end, the warehouse directory will tell to which location data should be imported by the scoop, and it will be copying data as a Avro file. And one thing is these commands and even table structures, everything is created using this link as a reference. So you can copy paste this link and you can actually get more details about these commands if you are interested. Okay, so now I am running the import. Get out of Hive, get out of MySQL, and paste, and now the import will start. Okay, it will take a while to import all the tables. After one table is imported, we will do the validation and see how the data will look like, and we will let the command to complete while we do the validation and run some sample queries. And as I have explained earlier, this is where it is actually getting the min and max of the primary key in categories, and based upon the min and max and number of mappers, which is 12 in this case, it will divide the data from min category ID and max category ID into 12 mutually exclusive buckets using the range algorithm, which I have explained in my previous videos. In my previous video of scoop theory. So the categories is copied using the scoop command, and it has copied, there are 58 records in the table, and it has copied all the 58 records into the HDFS location. So first let us review the location where the data is copied to. So we have used this location as the base directory, so we can actually run dfs command on this to see what is going on in there. Dfs -ls and paste colon semicolon, and there is a directory called categories, so we are interested in categories for now while the rest of the import is running. Paste it, and categories, you can see 12 files because we are using 12 as number of mappers with .avro extension. And when you actually try to cat what is there in that, in one of the .avro files, it will be most likely in binary format. Let us see. So if you see, the data is in binary format because Avro stores actual data in not in non-text format, and that's why you are seeing like this. So as it is in binary format, and as it requires a way to read the data, what it when you run scoop import with Avro or sequence formats, what will happen is, wherever you run the command, it will create these AVSC files. Okay, and if you see, there is a AVSC file for categories, scoop import categories, and you can look at that file to see what it has. So it has the metadata of your table. So we are trying to copy categories. So category ID is integer, and with data type 4 with precision 4 on source. Similarly, category name is string type. I'm not sure what is SQL type. Probably 4 is the representation of numeric type for int, and SQL type could be 12 might be first string. I'm not sure about the SQL type, but the main thing you need to understand is this AVSC file will have the metadata of your table. So if you have to read the Avro files, you need to use this as a reference so that you can read the data in proper structure. So the reason why you need to understand this is, if you look at the create table commands in Hive, now we have copied the data, and if you want to read the data, one of the feasible way to read the data is by creating Hive tables, Hive external tables on top of them. Okay, so now we will see the syntax of Hive external table for that. And the main difference between a traditional create table and external table is, the main difference between a table, a typical Hive table, and a table which chooses Avro format is that you will not see the column names here, because the column names are in a AVSC file. You have to define table properties, and you have to tell how the schema for this table looks like. Okay, and this information has to be in HDFS, so you have to copy those files that are generated as part of the scoop import command here. So this file have to be copied into HDFS, and then that location has to be given here. Okay, that we can do even after creating the table. Okay, and then the location for the actual data is HDFS location. As we are trying to create external table, we have to tell what is the location of the table. So in this case, this is the location where we have actually imported data to. And input format and output format you have to define related to Avro. So there is Avro container input format and Avro container output format, and also you have to use the respective Serde. If you do not define these things, then you will not be able to read the data appropriately. Okay, now first let us create the table. Before creating the table, we have to probably copy those files to the location where we are specifying in the table properties. So first let us copy the files, the AVSC files, into HDFS. So by default, those metadata files or AVSC files will be created in Linux file system like this: scoop import category, scoop import departments, .avsc, etc. And first we need to copy these AVSC files into a HDFS location. So for that we have to run these commands. I'm just creating a directory in HDFS and changing the permissions in HDFS, and then I'm copying the files. So I'm just copying and pasting those three. So now the AVSC files are copied. You can validate by running Hadoop fs -ls command. If you try to run this command in Hive prompt, it will not work. If you are running it in Hive prompt, you have to use dfs -ls. DFS is nothing but DFS in Hive is nothing but alias for this. Okay, so as we are running from the Linux prompt, not the Hive prompt, we need to use Hadoop fs, and you can validate that all the AVSC files are copied before we start creating the tables. So whenever you take an action, it is very, very important to validate, otherwise you will run into many surprises later. So import is still going on. Because it's a virtual machine, it is taking quite a lot of time to return the results, especially as we are using scoop import to copy the data. It will take a good amount of resources on your virtual machine. So now we have copied all the files, and primarily we are interested in categories, and now we'll go back to the Hive demo.txt for the create external table command. and I'm launching Hive. We have to use a retail stage database to create this external table which reads data from Mavro. Okay, now I am into retail stage database. Now I can actually paste the create table query command and hit enter. While it is executing, let us see what is going on in the import. I think it is under the last table. So let us see show tables. So it has created the table. You can actually describe formatted categories. And you can see the properties. So this column names we have not defined in the create table command, but it is reading from the file which is defined under table properties. Okay, and then location is what we have defined, and this is the schema URL from which this metadata has is read, and there are 12 files under this as of now. It might not be accurate in many cases, so don't worry about these things. And this is the major difference between the tables which we have created as part of physical modeling of ODS and DDW. There we have seen different things, and here we are seeing different things. Let me open another prompt and let me explain you about it. So I am launching Hive again. Let me minimize it a little bit. Oh man, it is taking such a long time. Okay, now let us see. So use retail ODS. We have created bunch of tables under retail ODS, and show tables, and you can describe formatted categories. This is created using typical way, and when you do not define survey, it will use a lazy survey by default, and we have specified stored as text file. So if you see this query, here we haven't defined survey, but we have defined stored as text file, and based upon the format which you have defined here, it will determine what is the input format and what is the output format, and it will use the default survey. So that is the major difference between table which use a Sevro format and typical text format. Okay, now we have the table, we have the data, and now let us run a query to validate whether we got the data appropriately or not. So I ran select count query. We have to also make sure that we got all the data that is required. So let us log into MySQL database also in parallel. Password is Cloudera. Use retail DB and select count of 1 from categories. There are 58 records, and now let us see how many records are there in our Hive table in the stage database. There are 58 records, so data is copied appropriately. So being said that, we have seen very important command which is scoop import, and we have used the most generic form of it. to import all the tables from a database. And you can in the next video we will see how individual tables have to be run. There will be another demo for import, and then we will see the scoop export as well, and then we will see about how to use Hive to load the data into ODS. So we will see a lot of stuff. It will take another 2-3 hours just to cover extract and load portion to get the data from different sources like databases or file servers and load into HDFS, and then we will talk about transformation. I hope you enjoy the series so far. If you like the video, please click on the like. If you don't like, please click on dislike. And if you, I don't mind if you do not comment if you like the video, but if you dislike, just give me the feedback so that I can try to work on your feedback and make it much better in my future videos. Thank you very much for listening to me. Have a nice one. Bye.